There are moments in life when the ordinary veil of existence seems to lift, and something far greater whispers to you in the silence of the night. A dream, so vivid, so powerful, grips you, leaving an imprint upon your soul. You wake, not merely with memories of images, but with a sense of urgency, as if a message has been passed to you in secret. Perhaps you have seen yourself soaring above the earth, unchained by gravity, touching the heavens. Perhaps you have walked through an unfamiliar door, leading you to a place you do not yet recognize but feel drawn to. Perhaps you have stood before a great task, an overwhelming burden, and yet something within you knew you were meant to carry it. These are not just dreams, they are signals, invitations, echoes from beyond the seen world, calling to those who have been chosen. If you have had any of these dreams, it is not by accident. Who is that you have been summoned? If you have ever dreamt of flying, of being lifted beyond the limits of the world, it is a sign that you are meant to rise above the mundane. You were not created for a life of complacency. You were made to think higher, live nobler, and pursue truth beyond what is easily seen. Doors appearing in dreams symbolize opportunities that only the chosen recognize. You may have seen yourself standing before a great door, unsure whether to enter. This is not a dream of chance. It is a calling. You have been given the opportunity to step into a new realm, to grow beyond where you stand. But the choice to enter remains yours. Some dream of standing in the midst of war, fighting against unseen forces. If this is your dream, then understand, you have been called to be a warrior. Not in the way the world understands warfare, but in the battles of faith, of perseverance, of standing firm when others falter. Those who are chosen must be prepared to defend what is good and true. There are those who dream of a bright light, one that guides them, or one that they hold for others. Such a dream reveals a deeper truth. You are meant to be a beacon. You will walk through places of darkness, but not alone. Your purpose is to carry light to those who wander, to speak wisdom where silence once ruled. If you have dreamt of falling, yet found yourself unharmed, then you have been chosen to walk by faith, not by sight. You are meant to trust in something greater than yourself. The world will shake, challenges will come, but you must remember, if you are chosen, you will never be forsaken. Some have dreamt of standing before crowds, speaking words that change lives. If this is you, know this. You have been given the task of carrying a message that the world needs to hear. Your voice is not meant for silence. It is meant to inspire, to awaken, and to bring others to a greater understanding of their own calling. If any of these dreams have visited you, do not dismiss them as mere imagination. The chosen are often those who least expect it, but they are never chosen without reason. These dreams are glimpses of what you are meant to become, not simply visions to be forgotten in the morning light. The question is not whether you have been chosen, but whether you will answer the call. Because in the end, the chosen are not those who simply dream, but those who wake up and act upon them. There are moments when a man feels an inexplicable longing, a stirring within him that he cannot fully comprehend. It is not mere ambition, nor is it a fleeting desire for something grander than his present life. It is something deeper, something ancient, and in the stillness of the night, this longing finds its voice through dreams. To dream of flight is to glimpse a reality beyond the limits of the world as we know it. There is something unnatural about such a vision, for men are not born with wings, and yet the sensation is so vivid that it lingers long after waking. One might argue that such dreams are the remnants of childish imagination, the mere echo of forgotten fantasies. But that would be a mistake. For those who are truly awake to the nature of things will recognize that such dreams are not given to all, nor are they meaningless. They are invitations. A summons to a higher purpose. To soar above the earth in a dream is not simply to escape from it. No, it is a calling to rise above the weight of the ordinary, to see with clearer eyes, to move with greater freedom. It is not the dream itself that matters most, but what it represents. The undeniable truth that the one who dreams it was not meant for a life spent entirely in the dust and routine of the world. There are those who are content to remain where they are, satisfied with the comforts of familiarity. And then there are those who are restless, who feel as though they were made for something beyond what they have known. It is for these that such dreams come, as a whisper from something beyond their present understanding. But the dream is not merely a pleasant experience. It comes with a weight, a burden of realization. For to be shown a greater height is to become aware of the lowliness of where one currently stands. A man who has never flown does not mourn the absence of wings, but the one who has felt the wind rush past him in sleep, who has looked down upon the world from above, cannot return unchanged. He wakes with a sense of loss, an aching knowledge that he has seen something he was never meant to forget. And here the choice begins. It would be easier, perhaps, to dismiss it as mere imagination, to convince oneself that it was nothing more than a dream, and to return to life as it was. This is what most do. It is safer. It requires nothing. And yet there is something relentless about the truth. It does not let go so easily. The dream may fade, but its impression remains, and if a man ignores it long enough, he will find that he has not freed himself from it, but has only dulled his ability to recognize it. The one who has been given such a vision must ask himself why. Why has he been permitted to see something that others have not? Why has he felt the exhilaration of heights that are impossible in the waking world? And most importantly, what is he meant to do with it? For the one who dreams of flight is not simply being shown what is possible, but what is required. He is being called to rise above, not only in his thoughts, but in his actions. There is a higher way of living, one that demands more than the ordinary. The world is filled with men who choose the ground, who are content to walk the paths that have already been laid before them. They do not ask questions that disturb, nor do they pursue that which is difficult, but the one who has dreamt of flying has seen something different. He has been given a glimpse of another way, a road less visible, one that requires him to leave behind the weight of lesser things. For to fly is to be unburdened. It is to let go of that which holds one down. Fear, doubt, comfort, all these things must be shed if one is to rise. And yet, there is no promise that this will be easy. In the dream, flight feels effortless, but in waking life it requires struggle. It demands courage, for it is not the body that must take flight, but the soul. And the soul does not rise without cost. The man who seeks to answer this call must be willing to lose the approval of those who do not understand. He must be prepared to walk a road that is lonelier than the well-trodden paths of the world. He must accept that the heights he is called to will come with challenges unknown to those who remain on the ground. But if he embraces this, if he refuses to ignore what he has seen, then he will find that the dream was never merely a dream at all. It was the beginning of something real, something eternal. It was the first glimpse of a truth that, once grasped, changes everything, and in the end he will come to understand that the dream was never about escaping this world, but about learning how to rise above it. There is something deeply unsettling about standing before a door that was not there before. You have walked a familiar path, a road well worn by time and habit, when suddenly you find yourself before an entrance you do not recall ever seeing. It stands there, silent yet expectant, as if waiting for you to make a choice. And though you do not know what lies beyond, you feel within yourself a quiet certainty that once you pass through, you will not return unchanged. Dreams of doors are among the most peculiar, not because they are strange in themselves, but because they reveal something that is already true in waking life. We do not drift through existence aimlessly, though many believe themselves to be mere wanderers upon the earth. There are moments when we are confronted with a choice, one that was not there the day before, or perhaps one that had always been there but only now revealed itself. These moments, though subtle, shape the course of our entire lives. To encounter a door in a dream is to be presented with an invitation, one that asks whether you will step forward into the unknown or remain where you are. Not all are given such dreams, just as not all are given the same opportunities in life. Some walk through their days without ever feeling the pull of something greater, content to remain within the walls of the familiar. But there are others who, at certain moments, sense something beyond the veil of the ordinary. They feel the quiet urging of a reality not yet seen, the whisper of a path that leads somewhere else. These are the ones who, whether they wish to or not, must face the question, will they step through? But here is where the struggle begins, for the door never reveals what is on the other side. It is not the nature of such things to offer comfort in certainty. Those who dream of doors do not wake with a clear vision of what awaits them. They wake with a choice. And the choice is this: to trust that the door has appeared for a reason, or to turn away because they cannot see beyond it. There is nothing particularly heroic in standing before an open door. Anyone may stand at the threshold. It is the stepping through that requires courage. The difficulty lies not only in the fear of the unknown, but in the attachments we have to what is known. A man who has lived in a single house all his life may dream of distant lands, but when the moment comes to leave, he will feel the pull of every familiar thing he has ever known. The walls that sheltered him, the streets he walked as a child, the voices that told him who he was. These things, even if they have become confining, are still his. To step through the door is not merely to go somewhere else. It is to leave behind what is no longer needed. And that is never easy. Some will hesitate, looking for assurances that do not come. They will ask if the path beyond the door is safe, if it will lead to something better, if they will be the same person when they reach the other side. But no answer will come, because the answer is found only in the walking. The ones who refuse to step forward will tell themselves that they have made the right decision, that it is better to remain with what is known than to risk what is not. But in time they will come to realize that the door was not merely an option, it was a summons, and those who ignore such summons do not remain unchanged. They only become more bound to the life they refuse to leave behind. Yet for those who take the step, something remarkable happens. The fear does not vanish, nor does the uncertainty, but the world does not collapse. Instead, the path begins to unfold in ways they could not have predicted. What once seemed impossible becomes real. What once seemed too distant to reach becomes the very ground beneath their feet. And though they may not yet understand why the door appeared, they will know in time that it was the beginning of something greater than themselves. The ones who are chosen are not those who are given easy roads. They are the ones who, when faced with a door that should not exist, recognize that it is meant for them. They are the ones who step forward, even when they do not know where the road will lead. And though the door may close behind them, sealing off the way they came, they do not turn back, for they know, however dimly at first, that the only way forward is through. There are some who wake from a dream with a strange sensation, one that lingers even after the images fade. It is not fear, nor is it confusion, but something far more unsettling, a feeling of having been spoken to. These are not the usual dreams of wandering through familiar places or reliving forgotten memories. No, these are different. In these dreams, a voice calls out, not in words that the ears can hear, but in a way that the soul understands. And when the dreamer wakes, he is left with a question he cannot shake. Who was calling me, and why? There is something unnerving about being addressed in a dream. It is one thing to imagine conversations, to conjure up voices from memory, but it is quite another to hear something that does not seem to belong to you. Some might dismiss it as the mind playing tricks, a mere echo of waking thoughts. But deep down there is a knowing, a recognition that the voice was not born from one's own mind, and this is where the uneasiness sets in. For if the voice was not yours, then whose was it? And what does it want? The one who hears a voice in his dreams is not given the comfort of easy answers. The call does not come with explanations. It does not arrive with a clear set of instructions. It simply comes, clear, unwavering, and impossible to ignore. And yet, even without understanding, the one who hears it knows one thing for certain: the voice was calling him for a reason. But this is where the real struggle begins, for there are few things more terrifying than being singled out. Most people prefer to remain in the crowd, unseen and unremarkable. They walk through life without questioning too much, without drawing attention to themselves. And yet, to hear a voice in a dream is to be called out of that crowd, to be set apart for something unknown. And the unknown is always frightening. Many will try to dismiss it. They will reason with themselves, saying that it was just a dream, nothing more. They will go about their lives as if nothing happened. But the voice does not fade so easily. It lingers in the quiet moments, in the pauses between thought and action. It comes back in flashes, in sudden reminders that make the heart race, and over time the one who was called will realize that he has only two choices: to answer or to turn away. But turning away is never as simple as it seems. One might try to silence the voice, to drown it out with the noise of daily life, but in the deepest part of himself he will know that he has ignored something important, something meant only for him, and that knowledge will weigh on him in ways he did not expect. He will feel a restlessness he cannot explain, an emptiness that was not there before. He will look at his life and wonder why the things that once satisfied him no longer do, and in time he will come to understand that the voice was not simply calling him, it was awakening him. For those who dare to listen, something remarkable happens. The voice does not give them all the answers, it does not tell them where the road will lead, but it does something far more important. It reminds them of who they truly are. It stirs something ancient within them, something that had been buried beneath the weight of the world, and in that stirring they begin to see what they were too blind to notice before. For the truth is, there are some who are chosen, not because they are better, not because they are stronger, but because they are needed. And when they are called, it is not to a life of ease, but to something greater, something more difficult. To be chosen is to be given a task that others are not given. It is to be set on a path that others will not understand. And it is to carry the weight of knowing that one cannot simply live as he did before. But here lies the great mystery. The call is not a burden. It may feel like one at first. It may come with fear, with hesitation, with the deep longing to return to the safety of an unremarkable life. But for those who answer, for those who follow where the voice leads, they will find that what they feared was never the call itself, but what it would require of them. And once they begin the journey, they will see that they were never truly living until now. There are dreams that vanish like mist upon waking, leaving no trace behind, and there are dreams that linger, clinging to the edges of the mind like a half-remembered melody. And then there are dreams of battle. These are not the ordinary kinds of dreams, nor are they easily dismissed upon waking. They come with a weight, a sense of urgency, as if something greater than mere imagination is at work. Those who dream of battle wake not only with the memory of struggle, but with the unmistakable feeling that they have been prepared for something. To dream of battle is no small thing. It is one thing to dream of ordinary troubles, of arguments and frustrations, of the small conflicts that come and go in daily life. But these dreams are different. They do not place a man in the midst of mere quarrels. They thrust him into something far greater. These are the dreams where one finds himself in armor he does not recall putting on, wielding a weapon he does not remember learning to use. He stands on a field where the ground itself seems to tremble with the weight of what is at stake. The battle rages around him, and yet, in the midst of it, he knows, beyond all doubt, that he has been called to fight. Such a dream does not come without meaning. To see oneself in the heart of battle is to be given a glimpse of something unseen but real. The world we wake to each morning is not as simple as it seems. Beneath the surface of daily life, there is a conflict far greater than most will ever perceive. It is a battle not of flesh and blood, but of things unseen. Forces that shape the course of lives, that call men toward courage or pull them toward despair. And though many may go through life unaware of this greater struggle, there are some who are given dreams that remind them. They are shown that they are not merely drifting through existence, but that they are warriors, whether they acknowledge it or not. The one who receives such a dream cannot return to life unchanged. He wakes with the knowledge that something is being asked of him, though he may not yet understand what. He feels the weight of the battle upon his soul, not as a distant story, but as something pressing, urgent, and it is here that he must decide what to do with what he has seen. There are some who will ignore it, who will dismiss the dream as nothing more than a strange trick of the mind. They will push it aside and go about their days as if nothing has happened. But over time, they will begin to feel a restlessness, a sense that something is missing. They will feel as if they were meant for something more, as if they were created for a purpose they have not yet fulfilled. And this is the truth. They were. For those who choose to listen, the dream becomes a call to arms. It is not a call to fight in the way the world expects, not with anger, not with violence, but with something deeper. It is a summons to take up the battle against the things that truly enslave men: fear, doubt, selfishness, despair. It is a call to fight for what is good even when the odds seem impossible. It is a call to stand firm even when the world tells them to give up. but the battle is not easy. It will demand everything of the one who answers. He will face opposition, not only from the world around him, but from within himself. He will be tempted to lay down his arms, to say that the fight is too difficult. He will wonder if he was mistaken, if he imagined the dream, if he is truly meant for this at all. But if he perseveres, if he does not turn back, he will come to understand that the dream was not merely a vision of what is to come. It was a reminder of who he has always been. For the ones who dream of battle are not ordinary men. They are those who have been chosen to stand in the midst of the storm, to fight for things unseen, to carry the weight of something greater than themselves, the sense of, and when the time comes, when the real battle is upon them, they will know that they have been prepared for this moment all along. There are dreams that come with an unsettling weight, not because they are filled with terror, but because they carry a kind of knowing. They do not fade upon waking, nor do they leave the dreamer unchanged. To dream of a great flood is such a dream. It is not merely an image of water rising, of cities swallowed by the deep, of waves crashing over the land. It is something far more ancient, something that speaks beyond mere destruction. It carries the sense that something is being washed away, that something old is being undone to make way for something new. There is something in the human soul that resists the flood. Men build walls against the rising tide, fearing that if it overtakes them all will be lost. And yet, the flood does not come without reason. It comes to cleanse, to strip away what is no longer meant to remain. There is a weight in such a dream, a knowledge that the waters do not rise without purpose. To stand in the presence of the flood is to feel the smallness of oneself against something vast, something that moves with a force beyond human strength. The one who dreams of the flood does not wake the same. He carries with him a sense of urgency, though he may not yet understand why. He has glimpsed something greater than himself, something that cannot be ignored, and it is here that the dreamer is faced with a choice. He can flee, attempting to outrun what is coming, or he can prepare, standing firm in the knowledge that the waters are not meant to destroy him, but to transform him. For those who see the flood and understand, the dream is not a warning of despair, but of change. It is a call to let go of what no longer serves, to release the things that cannot withstand the waters. The flood does not come for the sake of destruction alone. It comes to wash away the old so that something greater may take its place. It is only those who cling to what must be undone who find themselves swept away. There is an ancient pattern to the flood. It is seen in the stories of old, where waters rose not to end the world, but to purify it. It is seen in the heart of every man who has ever faced a moment where everything he knew was taken from him, not as punishment, but as preparation. The flood is not always made of water. It can come in the form of great loss, of sudden change, of the breaking apart of everything familiar. And yet, it is not meant to be feared. It is meant to be endured, for on the other side of the flood, the world is made new. But there is something else in the dream, something more unsettling than the waters themselves. It is the knowledge that not all will see the flood for what it is. Some will laugh at the warning, believing themselves safe in the high places they have built. Some will deny that the waters are rising at all, even as they feel the ground shifting beneath them. And some will resist, clinging to the old world as if their grasp alone can hold back the tide. But the flood does not ask permission. It moves as it must, sweeping away what was never meant to last. The one who dreams of the flood is not given the luxury of ignorance. He wakes with the weight of knowing, with the understanding that he has been shown something that others may not yet see. He is given the chance to prepare, not by gathering possessions, not by building walls, but by strengthening his heart for what is to come. For the flood does not test a man's wealth or his status, it tests his foundation, and only those who stand upon what is unshakable will remain when the waters recede. For those who are called by such a dream, there is no turning back. The world will not look the same to them. They will see beyond the surface, beyond the distractions that keep others blind to the rising tide. They will know that the time to prepare is not when the waters are at their feet, but long before the first drop falls. And when the flood comes, they will not fear, for they will understand that what is washed away was never meant to remain. What survives will be stronger, purer, and ready for what is to come. There are dreams that leave a man puzzled, dreams that slip away like mist upon waking, and dreams that persist, carving themselves into the memory as if they belong to something greater than mere sleep. Among these, the dream of a flood is one of the most powerful. It does not come as an idle fancy, nor as a meaningless vision. It comes with weight, with urgency, with the unmistakable sense that something vast and unstoppable is moving. Water in its ordinary form is familiar, even comforting. It gives life, it nourishes, it cleanses. But in a flood, water takes on a new character. It is no longer gentle but overwhelming. It does not trickle, it rushes. It does not merely cleanse, it overtakes. The one who dreams of a flood does not wake unchanged, for he has glimpsed something of the nature of great upheaval. A flood is not like an ordinary storm. A storm passes, leaving things shaken but still standing. A flood is different. It does not merely disrupt, it transforms. It washes away what is weak, it removes what is not anchored. It does not ask whether a man is ready for it. It comes, and he must face it as he is. In the dream, the flood is often seen before it arrives. The dreamer stands on dry land, but he knows the water is coming. He feels it in the air, sees it on the horizon, hears the distant roar of something moving closer. This is not the fear of an ordinary danger. It is the awareness that the world as he knows it is about to change. The question is not whether the flood will come, but whether he will stand when it does. The dream is not merely about destruction. Those who see the flood are not shown it to fill them with fear, but to prepare them. It is not only a warning, but an invitation. There are things in this world that cannot last, things that were never meant to endure. When the flood comes, it does not show mercy to the things that are weak. It does not spare the structures that were built on unstable ground. But those who are strong, those who have built their lives on what is true and unshakable, will not be lost. They will endure, and on the other side of the flood they will see the world made new. The dreamer may wake with questions. Why was he shown this? What is he meant to do? The flood is not a thing to be stopped. It is not a threat that can be reasoned with, or a force that can be turned back. It comes when it must, and no human effort can hold it back. The dream is not a call to resist the flood, but to be ready for it. Those who cling too tightly to what was never meant to last will find themselves swept away. Those who prepare their hearts, who strengthen their spirits, who build their lives on what is true, will remain. There are many who will not believe that the flood is coming. They will laugh at the warning, mock those who prepare, and assure themselves that nothing will change. They will put their trust in the high places they have built, in their comforts, in their illusions of security. But the flood does not ask permission. It does not care for the assurances of men. It moves as it must, and when it arrives, it reveals the truth of all things. What was weak is washed away. What was strong is tested and remains. The dreamer has been given a glimpse of something greater than himself. He has seen what others do not yet see. He carries a knowledge that is both a burden and a gift. He cannot go back to ignorance. He cannot pretend that life will continue unchanged. But he also does not need to fear. The flood does not come without purpose. It is not a random force of chaos, nor a meaningless disaster. It comes to remove what must be removed so that what is truly strong may endure. The question is not whether the flood will come, but whether he will stand when it does. There are moments when a dream is not merely a passing vision, but something far deeper, something that lingers in the mind long after waking. Among these, one of the most powerful is the dream of being given a key. Unlike other dreams, this one does not come with chaos or fear, but with quiet significance. It does not overwhelm the senses with storm or fire, nor does it rush upon the dreamer with force. Instead, it presents itself in stillness, yet carries the weight of something vast and unspoken. A key is not an object of decoration. It is not a thing one carries idly or without purpose. It exists for a reason. It opens something. It grants entry. It is an invitation, but a key by itself does nothing, must be used. To dream of a key is to be given a choice. The dreamer wakes with the knowledge that something is waiting to be unlocked, but he does not yet know what. He carries a sense of responsibility, though he may not understand why. He knows that a door exists, even if he has not yet seen it. He knows that something has been placed in his care and that the time will come when he must decide whether to use it. A key is not a symbol of possession, but of stewardship. It is not merely about access, but about readiness. One does not give a key to a man who has no reason to enter. It is given because a door stands before him, because something waits beyond it. The dream does not tell the dreamer what lies on the other side. It does not reveal whether the door will open to light or to shadow, to ease or to challenge. That is not its purpose. The key is given not as a guarantee, but as a test. The dreamer is not told what he will find, because the choice to turn the key must be made in trust. There are many who would refuse such a gift. To hold a key and never use it is, in some ways, a safer path. It allows a man to remain where he is, to avoid the unknown, to live without risk. But it also means he will never see what was meant for him. He will never enter the place that was prepared, never step beyond the threshold of what he already knows. The one who dreams of a key wakes with a burden that others do not carry. He knows that he has been given something, that he has been entrusted with a choice, and the choice is not an easy one. To use the key is to leave behind certainty. It is to accept that what lies beyond may change everything. It is to walk forward without knowing where the path will lead. And yet the dream does not come without purpose. A key is not given without reason. It does not appear by accident. It is given because something waits. The door will not open without it. The path will not be revealed unless it is turned. There are those who will question whether the key is real. They will wake from the dream and dismiss it as nothing, as a flicker of the mind, as something without meaning, and so they will live as though they have not been given anything at all. They will walk past the doors meant for them, never pausing to see if they might enter. They will tell themselves that no key was ever placed in their hands, and so they will never use it. And yet the door remains, the invitation remains. The dream was not a trick of the mind, but a glimpse of something beyond ordinary sight. The one who receives the key cannot return to ignorance. He has seen what others do not see. He has felt the weight of something placed in his hands. He may hesitate, he may wonder whether he is ready, but the truth is that readiness is not the question. The key is given not when a man feels prepared, but when the time has come. To wait until he feels worthy is to wait forever. The door will not open itself, the path will not reveal itself. The choice must be made, the key must be used, and when it is, the dreamer will understand that the door was never locked to keep him out, but to wait for the moment he chose to step through. There are dreams that pass like shadows, leaving little trace upon waking, and then there are dreams that press upon the soul with a weight that cannot be ignored. The ones who have seen these 7 dreams are not merely dreamers, but those who have been called. They have glimpsed something beyond the ordinary, something that demands to be understood, something that whispers of a purpose greater than their own desires. Such dreams are not random flickers of the mind, nor mere echoes of the day's thoughts. They arrive with precision, carrying a message that is both an invitation and a test. The flood comes to wash away the weak and reveal what is unshakable. The journey through darkness is not a punishment, but a preparation for light. The guiding star does not shine without reason. It appears so that the one who sees it might follow. The battle is not a sign of abandonment, but of calling. The key is not given in vain, it waits for the moment it will be used. And the door, no matter how imposing, does not exist to keep a man out, but to invite him forward. Those who receive such dreams are not meant to live as they once did. They have seen what others have not. They have been given knowledge that cannot be ignored. To return to ordinary life as though nothing has changed is to deny the very purpose of the vision. The road ahead may not be easy, it may be uncertain, but it is not without guidance, nor is it without strength for the one who dares to walk it. The choice in the end is the dreamer's alone. To see and turn away is an option, but it is one that leads to stagnation, to regret, to the slow fading of what might have been. To step forward, to trust what has been shown, is to step into a life that is not small or aimless, but full of meaning. The one who receives these dreams has been chosen, not for comfort, but for purpose. And purpose is never without cost. But for the one who embraces it, for the one who dares to trust the calling, the reward is far greater than he can yet imagine.